Hey folks, I'm going to say this again in the end of the video, but I want to say this now in the beginning as well. I have spent significant time in the pre-hospital environment, emergency medicine, military field medicine, but I'm an old guy. The stuff that I learned, it's got an expiration date. There's going to be a lot of people out there that I know have more up-to-date information, have taken more recent courses than me, and what's more important than me looking like I know everything is that we make sure we put out accurate and timely information for folks to learn from. So, for everybody watching, if I have said something that is out of date, if you have a more modern correction, if you're more familiar with some of the gear in here than I am, and you've got something that can add to the discussion, or you can provide some information that I don't have, please don't hesitate to throw it in the comments so that we can make sure, more than anything else, we put out the most up-to-date, most useful, most accurate information. I don't care if I look like an idiot. I'd rather look like an idiot, but make sure that we are telling people the right stuff. I know that in medicine, things change, and things change often. I'm speaking based on my best information as I retain it in my head. So with that said, let's go ahead and get to the video. We'll use a little tiny one.
I want to use it.
You want to use a little tiny one? Here comes Godzilla. All right. We'll just work around him, around the king. Yeah, this is going to be a box for you. All right, guys. I'm back.
Welcome to a video.
Welcome to a video. That's what you should say. Hey guys, welcome to a video.
Yeah.
Well, we've got Medic Box fresh out of the mailbox. Yeah, you're right. It's not that heavy. Fresh out of the mailbox today. We've got, I believe we're starting phase 2. I believe we're starting the vehicle kit. And this is going to be, I think this is going to be your first. Have you done a Medic Box with me before?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, here I am explaining Medic Box to you for no reason, and you're just letting me babble on like an old man in diapers.
Yeah, remember last one?
Nope. No, I do not. Because I'm an old man in diapers.
The one with the pouch and the red scissors that fold into...
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we did.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So this is the new one, the new phase. The new phase we're going into. So you've never seen the medical warning, the medical rant warning I do, but we got to play it. You won't see it now because I got to edit it. I got to insert it. It's going to be inserted right here. Stations, all stations. We have medical items in the box. I repeat, medical items.
Better get the old man down here. President's in his limousine. They're diverting to Andrews. The vice president is out of position, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is on his way.
Priority traffic. We are now at DEFCON 3. Incoming medical rant. All right, we're going to open it with this tiny little knife.
Can I do it?
You want to open it? I don't think there's too much to be opened. There is right here. Right along there. See in there? Watch your fingers with that one.
Right here? Watch
my entire body with that one. There you go. Okay. And I am all stuffed up today. So we've got, let's see. We've got the card. I discovered something cool about the card, and I'll tell you later. This looks like it holds an egg for you.
Ooh.
Maybe a tactile egg. I don't know. We've got this pouch. We've got this pouch. We've got this pouch, this pouch, this pouch, this pouch.
Why do they have
this
so
thing,
many pouches?
And a box for Peter Kitty Cat. Meow. Look at that. Look at that, Your Majesty. Okay, so Medic Box. Here we are, Phase 2 vehicle. So what I learned is that they actually show us pictures of how to put everything in the pouch.
Oh.
Which would have saved so much time on the last one. So this is the Pro? I forgot what they call this one. This is the, hold on. The Pro. Oh, he's in the box. Yeah. So this is the Pro. So this is our new bag. This is our new pouch. A little bit bigger than the first aid kit one. We've got this. Let's see. Oh, polycarbonate eye shield. All right, we're gonna figure out what everything is as we get going. Occlusive adhesive dressing for open chest wounds. I wonder why they decided that this was the vehicle one had. Anyway, vehicle trauma kit. That's why it has an occlusive chest wound one. So we're gonna put this over here until I find something funnier or more humorous or whatever to put on. Inside this box, we should find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. Do we have 7, 8 things? 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, you're right. Well, hold on. We got too many things. Let's count again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 is the number. And to 8 you shall count. All right. So we
start with this one.
Well, we're going to go down the card if that's okay with you.
No.
Well, we're going to go down the card if that's not okay with you. We are Siamese if you please, and we are Siamese if you don't please. You are too young to even get that. Welcome to Phase 2. Over the next 3 boxes, you'll build a vehicle trauma kit with everything you need to prepare you for vehicle-related emergencies. So we start with the vehicle pouch.
Is it going to be for the driver or the passenger or the back?
That's a good question. It is for just the vehicle itself. It is for inside your vehicle. Should the need arise? Should the need arise?
Is there like a tiny man in there that runs it?
There's a tiny medic that you put in there, and he's like, "Hey, here I am." Remember we watched The Wizard of Oz? We put a munchkin in here with medical skills. All right, so we've got the vehicle pouch. So let me teach you something. Let me teach you something. So there's a thing called PALS webbing that makes up something that we call MOLLE compatible gear. And that's the kind of gear that you see all the time with these like straps on it. This is traditional. This is great. We can demonstrate it all at once. This is traditional PALS webbing. See how it's sewn together?
Yeah.
And it's always at 1-inch interval, 1-inch pieces. So this is really modular gear. Now, you remember my tan, I don't know if you've seen it lately, my tan vest that has the bulletproof plates in it and has the magazine pouches on it. It's actually at the shop right now. I need to bring it home. But have you seen anything like that in movies and shows where people have, like, it looks like a vest or a plate carrier, and then they attach all sorts of gear to it? Or, I have backpacks that we can have all the... Anyway, so this is the kind of gear... It's a type of gear, anyway. So this is one style, an older style, traditional sewn, and this is a newer style called laser cut. See how it just looks a little bit differently and it looks very clean and neat?
Yeah.
There's advantages and disadvantages to both styles. So here on this one piece of gear, we get to see both the traditional sewn, and it's called that because it's sewn together, and the laser cut. Now, this means that there's no separation. It's one big piece all together, but with the little things that these straps would go to. And so what you do is you take these straps and you put them through these little sections, and that's what holds these pieces of gear together. So you can layer as many or as few as, you know what I mean? You understand how it works?
Is there any downsides to that?
There are. Yeah, that's a good question. Some people like this better because they think, some people would say that these sewn areas where it's sewn on are points of weakness, where if it's not a good quality piece, you can tear this off of the background. Some people feel the same way about this. They feel that because these areas are not sewn flat down to the background, these might become areas of weakness. I have not had either one of them really screw me over. I kind of like these because they just look nice and neat and clean. But either way, it's just two different. It's cool to illustrate both different kinds on one piece of thing, is all I'm saying. Okay. So this is MOLLE compatible, PALS webbing, front and back. So you can attach this to something, and then you can attach another pouch to the front. Like the first aid pouch, that had the same straps on the back. We could even attach that to the front of this if we wanted to, if we felt like it. So this has the packing. Here's the packing order, the way that we are going to pack this. And it has a nice big Velcro section on front, so you could put other Velcro stuff or patches or whatever you want on it. I like these too. Here, check this out, this zipper pull. It's like got rubber on it, so it doesn't, you can't accidentally, you know how these things could get untied, these zipper pulls?
Yeah.
They can't really get untied and fall apart on you. It has nice big metal zippers. All right, so the first thing we're going to look for is the OLAES bandage. I think that's this thing.
The one that looks like it will hold an egg?
The one that looks like it holds an egg right there. 4-inch modular bandage. Now, is this what makes it modular? I'm not sure what this is. I think, yes, it holds an egg, but it probably does something else otherwise. Place wound pad on injury with pressure bar directly over the site. Tightly wrap elastic bandage, secure with plastic clip. Now, this seems to be, since this is set up for a big trauma, this would be what we might call a bulky abdominal dressing. So you know that inside this tummy area here,
The stomach acid?
well, yeah, that, but that's not what I was getting at. But you're right, it has it. So you have all in here, this is called the trunk. You have your abdominal, your thoracic cavity up here. You have your abdominal cavity over here. This part of your body, you guys can't see what I'm pointing at, but I'm pointing at Ethan's center part of his body. That holds all of what we call vital organs. Guess why we call them vital organs?
Because they're vital and they're organs, like the heart.
They are organs and they're vital. So what happens to your body if you should lose those organs, if something should happen to them?
You die off of a 15-tall building.
Well, you don't have to go onto any size building. You could die. Yes, you could die if you lose those organs. They sustain your life.
Are we going to open these?
No, we're going to leave these sealed so that if there's an emergency, we can use them. They stay nice and clean and sterile. A bulky trauma dressing is, let me get back to it. So everything in your chest cavity, your thoracic cavity, that's where your heart and lungs, separated from your abdominal cavity by something called the diaphragm. That's a muscle that moves up and down and it makes your lungs breathe. There's some space. Whoa, oh, hi, hello. There's some space in there. In your abdominal cavity, everything is squished in like somebody just packed a balloon full of stuff.
God did that.
And, well, God did do that, yeah. He packed it all in there. If you make an incision and opening, and those organs have a chance to squirt out, they will squirt out. They will, given the opportunity, your intestines and other stuff will squirt out of an abdominal wound. They will. Also, there's a whole lot of blood and other kinds of liquids, all sorts of disgusting liquids in your abdominal cavity.
Will there be pee?
There could be pee from the bladder. There could be something called bile. There's all sorts of disgusting stuff. If you split open the intestines, what do you think comes out of the intestines?
Blood.
And?
Poop.
What? Poop. You're not wrong. Poop.
Diarrhea.
And that could cause a big infection. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that could go wrong if your abdominal cavity is injured and is open. A bulky abdominal dressing is made so that you can, number one, stop some of that bleeding. You can bleed to death from an abdominal injury very quickly. You can also bleed internally. So it can stop that bleeding or at least slow it down, and it can hold things in place until we can rush somebody to the hospital. Open abdominal wounds are terrible outside of the hospital. I mean, it's one of those things where we call load and go on the ambulance, as we used to call it.
Because you would load somebody as fast as you can in 0.5 seconds and bring them to the hospital in 0.05 seconds.
Exactly. Load them up and go. Do the minimum you have to stabilize and go. A lot of times you do the stabilization in the back of the ambulance while you're going, depending on how bad it is. That is a load and go situation. So this is, now I think I've taught you this before too, the difference between a dressing and a bandage. A dressing is something nice and sterile and clean, especially considering all that open vital organ area that could get infected very easily, that you put on top of the actual injury wound. And then the bandage is what goes around it to hold it on. This gives us both in one, and I've talked about that before. That is awesome. I like it. Why is it shaped like an egg? I don't know. Why it looks like it has an egg-shaped hole? I don't know. I've never used one of these.
You're gonna have to take an egg from the fridge and not open it, but just put it there.
Yes, I guess we're gonna have to look into this. Let's see. 3 meters of sterile Z-packed gauze. Z-pack just means it's like an accordion. It opens up like this. Wait, what else? Removable occlusive plastic sheet. Occlusive means it's waterproof, and if we put it on right, it's airtight. So that helps us with keeping liquidy stuff at bay. A pressure cup, that's what this is. Hook and loop control strip. So that's pretty cool. I've never seen one of these, but that could be very good to have.
It's still an egg holder.
This goes in here, apparently. Our egg holder. All right, so so this is number 2. Number 1. Number 3, chest seals. Now I'm gonna teach you about something else. Chest seals, occlusive dressings for open chest wounds. So remember how I said there's space inside this little area?
Yeah.
Where your lungs are? So your lungs are like balloons. They fill with air and they deflate and air goes in and out.
They can make a fart noise.
They can make a fart noise under the right situations. We don't want them to. If something penetrates your chest cavity, and so inside your chest cavity, your thoracic cavity, is negative pressure, which is kind of hard to understand. There's positive air pressure out here. Air is actually, you can't feel it, it is pushing on things. We are living at 1 atmosphere. That means there's a little bit of weight of air on everything. Inside your chest cavity is negative pressure. There's less than 1 atmosphere. If you were to, God forbid, I hope it never happens, get stabbed or shot in your chest, all of a sudden, all of the pressure of this air outside will rush in and will actually push on your lungs, which are not designed to work like that. And you will not be able to breathe because your lung will not be able to expand anymore because that negative pressure will be broken.
Oh, question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, when you breathe, is your rib cage like a little bit out so your lungs can expand, or are they like right next to it, and as they expand, they kind of stretch?
That's an excellent question. So your rib cage is hard bone and it protects your heart and your lungs. But there's a soft kind of connective tissue called cartilage, which allows the bones to move a little bit and expand and contract. So when your chest gets bigger and smaller, the bones, which are connected by that cartilage, it allows them to expand a little tiny bit and contract a little tiny bit.
Well, if you somehow breathe too hard, too big, and they snap,
you can dislocate your ribs. Do you know anybody stupid enough to have broken a rib by coughing too hard?
No.
Gee, that's a bizarre thing that you didn't think could possibly happen. But yeah, so you can actually, it really wouldn't happen through breathing too hard, but ribs can become dislocated, ribs can become broken. And that can actually have an effect where it, depending on the nature of how it happens and where it is, that can make it harder for you to breathe. The pain of that can make it hard for you to breathe because your body is like, oh, that hurts, don't do that. And you're like, oh, I want to breathe, but it's hard to breathe because it hurts so bad. So
when I get hurt sometimes, it's like my brain says, I feel like my brain is saying, stop doing that. I'm like, I can't stop it.
Well, that is, you know what? That's a good point. The entire point of pain, the whole reason our body feels pain is to make us stop doing whatever hurts, because chances are whatever hurts is damaging to the body somehow. Unfortunately, sometimes the after effects of what has hurt us is something called inflammation, where the tissues swell up, where the body rushes fluids. Shut up, phone. Where the body rushes different fluids to that area, because that's how the body heals. It brings its different healing things through the blood and other body fluids. Unfortunately, that causes things to swell up and squeeze the nerves, and that causes a lot of pain also. So the body sends us mixed signals, we'll say. You know what I mean? But like, you know why when you get a burn, it hurts? Because that's the body's way of saying whatever that is hot. You should not touch it. And then it remains in pain for a while because the body's telling you, protect this part of the body, protect it. You have injured it, and now it must heal. And unfortunately, the nerves that are damaged continue to hurt. Anyway, that's good. That's a good point to bring up. It's really cool.
I do feel like this is something I would learn in my old school in health class.
It might be. We're getting a little beyond health and more into trauma medicine. But we're getting a little bit off topic here, but I don't mind doing it because there are people out there who might not know this stuff. And if you have questions, I certainly want to answer your questions. But let's get back to the chest seal. Let's get back to your chest. So what a chest seal does, and these were invented by a Navy SEAL. What we used to do, what I was taught when I was a young medic in medic school, was to take, remember we used that word occlusive?
Yeah.
It's to take an occlusive dressing, wait till somebody has breathed out, till exhaled so the chest is small, slap it on them. So that when they breathed in again, it would tighten up. And by occlusive dressing, we would use whatever we had. A piece of plastic, a military ID card is encased in plastic, so that would work. And we would tape down 3 sides, leaving one corner open, so that as they exhaled again, any air that was in there would get forced out. But as they breathed in, it would get sucked into that wound, and it would not let any air back in. That didn't always work. It was very hard to do when you have blood and other kinds of mucus, other kinds of stuff coming out. It's hard to get it to stick down there even with medical tape. So a Navy SEAL said, I'm going to create something specifically for this. And his name was Asherman. He created the Asherman chest seal, it was a round thing. It looked kind of like a nipple. It was a round thing with a little part sticking up, and it was a one-way valve, which let air out, but didn't let air back in. So you could stick that directly on the sucking chest wound. We call it a sucking chest wound. And remember I said sometimes your lungs make a fart sound? Yeah. A lot of times during that air sucking sound, it would make a kind of sound or a whistling sound. Unfortunately, the first version of that was also not as reliable, but they have made a lot of advances in the chest seal.
I wish I could see how these work.
We can look some up online and I can show you. The only reason we don't open them is because once we open them, then they're not sterile and we can't put them on somebody, because they can get infected. But the chest seal now doesn't have to be all fancy. You don't have to time when to put it on, because that valve automatically lets air out of the chest cavity and doesn't let any more air back in. And since it's self-adhesive, it just sticks all on its own. So this saves somebody's life by allowing them to breathe in an injury that might otherwise suffocate them. So that's really important to have in trauma. And I can show you these pictures of these. This is basic, what we call basic life-saving, BLS type stuff that's very important. All right, number 4. Oh, you found it. Tack gauze. USA-made wound wrapping gauze. Offers a small footprint, better packing, and higher absorbency than traditional gauze. Where's what?
Where's this one?
That is one of the pro items, so that comes after. This is so light. Feel this. What is this? I mean, this feels like nothing, right?
It feels like freeze-dried gummy worm.
It does feel like freeze-dried. You know why? Because they vacuum seal it to get all the air out of there to make it smaller. So gauze, I'm not sure if it's sterile or not. I can't really see, but it is rolled gauze. It is sterile. It is sterile. So you could use it as a dressing. You could pack a wound with it. And it's very interesting because it is so light. Again, trauma. Trauma is all about bleeding and injuries. So the more bleeding control stuff you have, the more stuff you have to stabilize a wound. And trauma, usually we mean something has seriously injured the body. So we're talking about gunshot wounds, we're talking about blunt force trauma, we're talking about motor vehicle accidents, we're talking about the high potential to make a splint, sling, a swath. So stuff like this is great to have. I love the fact that it's so light. That's awesome. So this number 4 goes right here in this elastic. I didn't even talk about the interior of this pouch. We'll talk about it after we go over everything. Number 5, an eye shield. Polycarbonate eye shield meets military and civilian pre-hospital guidelines for traumatic eye injury treatment. So, this is, I'm going to go off on a tangent talking about eyes again. You can be a pirate.
Yay.
So, this is good. There's a couple things that we have to talk about when treating eyes, trauma-wise. Number 1, eyes have something called sympathetic movement. It is very hard for you to move one eye and not the other. Try to move one eye and not the other. Try to look at something with one eye and not the other. Can you do it? No. Leave your eyes open. Even if your eyes are closed, it's hard for you to move one eye and not the other. You're still moving both eyes, aren't you? Even when you cross your eyes. Eyes have sympathetic movement. When one eye moves, so does the other. So, as a general rule, trauma-wise, if you're going to bandage one eye, you're going to bandage both. Because if you're going to immobilize one eye, you're going to immobilize the other to eliminate that risk of sympathetic movement where the other eye moves and potentially damages the good eye. Now, if you're dealing with something like, chemical exposure to the eye or fluids in the eye, then you have to check your actual safety data sheet. Sometimes you don't have to do that. But when we're talking about something impaled in the eye, impaled means stuck in the eye. Number 1, you never pull an impaled object out of the eye. There's a very specific kind of fluid in the eye called vitreous humor. If you lose that fluid, you go blind.
And also, if somebody stabs you through, it goes all the way through. Don't take it out either.
That's true. That is another thing. We always talk about that. You never want to remove an impaled or stabbed object unless you absolutely cannot transport that victim with that in there, but especially the eyes. So when you stabilize eyes, you always stabilize them as a pair, especially with an impaled object, because you have stabilized that impaled object, but you forget to do the other one, and as soon as they look over, that other eye starts moving with a big stick stuck in it. So having one eye shield is great, but and tape over eye. When we're talking about trauma potentially to the eye, I don't know, maybe, and I'm assuming that everybody's trained to stabilize impaled objects in the eyes. Whatever. Just always remember that. If you have a trauma to one eye, you always, I don't know if immobilize, that's the word, immobilize both eyes because of that sympathetic movement. This is cool to have because it will protect an injured eye. You could probably pick up another one anywhere you go. You don't need both. I mean, you don't need both for immobilizing the eye. And this we can actually look at because this is not going to be sterile. There's going to be something sterile underneath it. Nothing under shield. Tape over eye, this side out. I just said there's going to be something sterile underneath it. I don't know. Yes, follow what it says. I'm saying ambulance-wise, we might have done other stuff. The problem with nothing underneath it is that eye is open and has the ability to move around and look at whatever you want. And you might not want that all the time. I'm trying not to get too into actual military or pre-hospital medical stuff and teach a class because I'm no longer certified to do that. I've said this in another one. Emergency medicine has moved past my certification level and training at this point. But I'm trying to give you guys pointers as to what I know to be true and what I would do in an emergency situation. This will protect against any further injury to an eye, though. And we always had these guiding principles, priorities in emergency medicine, and our priorities are life, limb, and eyesight. Those are the big 3. That's what we're looking for. We want to save your life. Once you're going to live, we want to try to make sure you come out of that accident with as many functioning limbs as you walked into it. And once we know you've got your arms and legs, we want to make sure that you retain the ability to see. So life, limb, and eyesight is a good thing to remember. So let's put this over here.
I heard that there's different types of blindness.
There are different types of blindness. You are absolutely correct. Now, that's a little bit out of my scope of practice, like talking about those. That's more for a doctor than me to discuss. Now, these are all of the standard items in this month's box. Before we do this, let's take a look at the pouch. Are you tired? You look a little tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. He fell asleep doing his math homework tonight. So in the pouch itself, which we didn't look at, we've got this one nice big internal pouch here and weatherproofed basically on all of it, which is nice. You've got this really good rugged waterproofing right here. I'm assuming I can feel it beneath this patch panel over here. I can feel it even though you don't see it the same way over here. That begs the question, is there something under? No, there's not. Yeah, you've got the same weatherproofing, but we've got double elastic to hold other equipment. I'm very anxious to see what that equipment is. Over here, you've got internal pocket, internal secured pocket, and then more elastic. So a nice big pouch. If you're not going to use it for medical equipment, you can use it for all sorts of gear. And being just plain black, you can use it for just about anything you want.
I wonder in the future if they are gonna somehow make these reusable.
Maybe. That'd be good. We'll talk about what that is in a second. And I love this feature where this attaches to your gear and you can totally remove that MOLLE attachment panel to have this just free to work with without having to take it off your gear. And it opens full 180 degrees so you can just get it down on the ground, get your supplies right out there without having to struggle with like a half open pouch. And then, by the way, one more zipper pouch that folds out. So cool. Now, the pro items. We've got two pro items. The first is Alps Trauma Blanket, compact mylar-lined, heat-reflective point of injury blanket. This feels a little heavier than the standard space blanket, and you can see it's got more than just the tinfoil. I call them the tinfoil blankets, which is cool. Those things rip up and shred. This is very important because in trauma, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be dealing with shock of one type or another. Very often it's going to be a hypovolemic shock, which means they're losing a lot of blood. The big thing is they're going to be losing body heat. When you lose your circulating volume, that's how the body circulates heat. And so then you're looking at a hypothermic situation. This is very good to maintain body heat, or at least keep it up as best you can. These things are, I'll tell you, they do work pretty well. They keep you warm. I often tell my funny story about when I was young and stupid and thought I was really cool, and it was nice and warm during the daytime, so I didn't pack in a sleeping bag, and then on the top of the mountain, it got to like 40 degrees at night, and guess what? That's pretty cold when you're just in a sweaty uniform that you've been sweating in all day. And so I, in the black of night, tried to open up a little mylar space blanket and just shredded it into pieces, and yeah. But right, sure, whatever, yeah. This one is a bit more rugged than that though, and this is cool because this will help, especially if you're in a trauma scene where people are running around, things are getting snagged on stuff, and your trauma victim themselves might not be the most common serene person. This just won't shred into pieces. So that's pretty good. Usually the pro items do not have a good fixed place, I've learned, in the pouch, but I have a feeling that once everything's placed, this is nice and flat, this could fit. The second item is the Slishman wrap. Ethan, could you use a Slishman wrap? That was you, by the way. Are you a Slishman? He's just tired. So we've got what could be another little MOLLE strap. This can be a pressure dressing. It looks like it's got a little reflectiveness, and it's basically, yeah, it's just it looks like an elastic strap, but you can use this Not necessarily a tourniquet, although I'm sure you could fashion a makeshift one out of it. But this can make yourself a pressure dressing. You can use it to apply, making a sling and swath. It's got a lot of advantages. I've seen these used in training videos. I've never had my hands on one, but what's great is it is bright orange and it is reflective. So at, like, say, an MVA, motor vehicle accident at night, it is very bright and reflective, really identifies what's going on and where it is. So it's got a very nice pouch too, by the way, so you can put this in something else and repurpose this pouch, because this pouch is great, nice and soft, a little elasticy. It's got just Velcro attachable stuff all over it. This has, you can peel this off and it's self-sticking, and it's got a little Velcro, so you can stick this to anywhere. And this is a cool item to have. I've never trained with them, but I've seen them and they look very versatile. So I'm glad to have this. And this is something that we could stick, because, Ethan, stick with me for 1 second. I'm going to show you how this works.
Will you use some glue to do that?
To stick with me?
Yeah.
How about I stick the Velcro with me? So because of the MOLLE attachment capability here, we could, see, this is how it works. We just pass this through one of these loops, see, and then it snaps on, and now it's affixed to the pouch. So there we go. And I'm going to go to the bleeding control part 2, because their courses online, I've taken a look at some of them. They're actually pretty good. I gotta say, especially for an old guy like me that needs to refresh and learn some new tricks. So that is Vehicle Phase 2, Box 1. And this is absolutely something I would keep in the car when it's all full. 100%. So, Ethan, did you learn some stuff? You got really tired towards the end, I know. You were up really early. Earlier than your normal wake-up time.
Yeah.
Did you learn some stuff? I hope some other folks learned some stuff. I hope you guys learned some stuff. I'm excited. I get very excited now when this is on its way. Emergency medicine is one of my first true passions in life, so this is really fun. I hope you guys are enjoying. I hope you guys are learning, and we're at least getting some entertainment value out of this. Please feel free to, I will say this. There are going to be some corrections that need to be made, because, again, my knowledge is dated in terms of emergency medicine. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I welcome anybody with more current information to step in and drop comments, because what's more important than me looking cool here is making sure that correct information gets put out to everybody that's watching the video. So
a sticker here?
There used to be a sticker there, yes, but it peeled off. So please feel free, if you've got questions, comments, updated information, or just a really good fill-in you think that other people should know related to anything I talked about or any of the gear, absolutely, please don't hesitate to fill that in the comments, so we can get everybody a complete picture of stuff I'm talking about. Anyway, thanks guys for spending a little bit more time with me. I'm gonna get this guy to bed because he's a little tired here. Remember that you are all absolutely awesome. We appreciate every single one of you, and we'll be back again real soon.